Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. If you want to know how someone truly feels about you, there is one thing you do one time, just once, and everything they've been hiding comes straight to the surface. You stop chasing clarity. You stop explaining yourself. You stop trying to fix confusion that you didn't create. Because the truth is, real feelings don't need pressure to show up. They reveal themselves when the noise is gone. Ladies and gentlemen, let me slow this thing down and talk to you straight, because this first truth right here changes everything if you really understand it. Silence will reveal what questions never will. See, most people think clarity comes from asking more, talking more, explaining more, sending longer messages, having deeper conversations. But the truth is, the more you talk, the more chances you give someone to hide. Words are easy. People can say what sounds right, what feels comforting, keeps you around. But silence puts pressure on the heart. When you stop asking where you stand, when you stop checking in to see if you matter, when you stop reminding someone of your presence, you remove their ability to perform. Now they can't rely on charm or excuses. Now they can't distract you with sweet words. What's left is instinct, and instinct always tells the truth. Someone who cares will feel your absence immediately. It won't sit right with them. Your quiet will bother them because they value your voice. They will wonder why you're not there, why you're not calling, why you're not trying. And instead of enjoying the space, they will close the distance. Here's where most people mess it up. They get uncomfortable with the silence before the other person does. They panic. They assume the worst. They break the silence too soon because they're afraid of losing someone who was never fully present in the first place. And by doing that, they protect the other person from revealing their truth. Silence is not punishment. Silence is observation. It's you stepping back and letting behavior speak. You have to understand something important. When someone genuinely cares, they don't need reminders. They don't need repeated chances. They don't need you to explain why communication matters. Care shows up naturally. It shows up in concern. It shows up in effort. It shows up in action without being asked. Silence exposes whether someone reaches for you or relaxes without you, and that difference tells you everything. If your silence creates effort, you were valued. If your silence creates distance, you were tolerated. And that's not something you argue with. That's something you accept. Because chasing clarity from someone who is comfortable without you only teaches them they can keep doing the bare minimum. Silence removes your energy from the equation and forces them to reveal theirs. This is not about playing games. This is about protecting your peace. When you stop filling the gaps, you see who was relying on you to carry the connection. And that truth might hurt, but it will never confuse you. Silence doesn't lie. It doesn't exaggerate. It simply creates space, and in that space, real feelings either rush in or fade away. Let me tell you something most people learn the hard way. Words can be beautiful, convincing, and comforting, but they are not proof. Consistency is proof. Anybody can say they miss you. Anybody can promise they care. Anybody can talk about a future when it costs them nothing in the moment. But real intention shows up in what someone does repeatedly, not what they say when it's convenient. And this is where the truth separates itself. When someone truly feels something for you, you don't have to decode their behavior. You don't have to guess their mood. You don't have to wonder why effort comes and goes. Consistency creates emotional safety. It tells you where you stand without forcing you to ask. But when feelings are shallow or uncertain, effort becomes inconsistent. One day they're present, the next day they disappear. One day they're all in, the next day they're too busy. And that inconsistency is not confusion, it's information. People reveal their real intentions through patterns, not one good day. Not one sweet message, not one deep conversation at midnight. Patterns. Someone who wants you in their life will show up even when they're tired, even when they're stressed, even when life is messy. Not perfectly, but consistently. Because what matters to you gets protected. What doesn't gets postponed. Here's the mistake many people make. They listen to words and ignore behavior. They fall in love with potential and excuse inconsistency by blaming circumstances. But circumstances don't change priorities. They expose them. If someone only shows up when it's easy, only communicates when it suits them, only gives effort when they're afraid of losing you, that's not intention. That's reaction. Consistency is quiet. It's not dramatic. It doesn't come with big speeches or emotional moments. It shows up in regular calls, steady effort, respect for your time, and follow through on promises. And when consistency is missing, no amount of explanation can replace it. You shouldn't have to beg for basic effort or negotiate your worth. Pay attention to how someone treats you when you stop reminding them. They still show up. Do they still reach out? Do they still prioritize connection? Because when feelings are real, consistency doesn't disappear when attention is removed. It remains. And when feelings are weak, consistency collapses the moment you stop carrying the relationship. Stop arguing with inconsistency. Stop trying to understand behavior that's already clear. Consistency tests intention every single day, and it never lies. If someone is inconsistent with you, it's not because they don't know what to do. It's because they're not sure you matter enough to do it every time. Emotional space has a way of doing what conversations can't. When you stop crowding someone with expectations, explanations, and emotional availability, you give them room to be honest with themselves. And that honesty always shows up in behavior. See, when you're constantly present, constantly giving, constantly understanding, you remove the need for the other person to decide. They don't have to choose you because you're already there. Emotional space changes that dynamic immediately. When you step back, you're not being cold. You're not being distant. You're simply no longer over functioning for the connection. And that's when reality steps in. People only stay as long as you're carrying the emotional weight for both of you. They enjoy the comfort, the validation, the attention, but they never fully invest. Emotional space takes away the cushion. It removes the safety net. Now they have to feel what it's like without your constant presence. This is where honesty is forced. A person who truly cares will feel the gap. They will notice the difference. They'll reflect. They'll ask themselves why the connection feels off. And instead of blaming you, they'll step forward to restore what matters to them. Emotional space activates desire when desire is real. It brings out effort when effort exists. It pushes someone to act instead of coast. But if someone uses that space as relief, that tells you something too. If they feel lighter, less pressured, more comfortable without the connection, then the truth was already there. They weren't emotionally invested. They were emotionally accommodated, and no amount of talking would have changed that. Emotional space didn't create the distance. It revealed it. Most people are afraid of emotional space because they think closeness means constant access. Real connection doesn't require you to shrink yourself or stay available at the cost of your peace. When you always rush to respond, always fix tension, always smooth things over, you delay the truth. Space speeds it up, it removes confusion, it forces alignment or separation. Emotional space also brings clarity to you. It quiets your anxiety. It allows you to observe without reacting. You stop interpreting words and start watching actions. You stop guessing intentions and start seeing priorities. And in that stillness, you regain your power. You're no longer chasing reassurance. You're allowing truth to walk toward you or walk away. This isn't about pushing someone away to make them miss you. That's not the point. The point is allowing someone to show you how they really feel when you're no longer doing all the emotional labor. Space doesn't demand honesty, it invites it, and the response tells you whether what you felt was mutual or imagined. The moment you decide to respect yourself more than the situation, everything changes. Self-respect is not loud. It doesn't argue, chase, or demand. It simply draws a line and stands behind it. And the way people respond to that line tells you exactly how they feel about you. When you stop accepting inconsistency, mixed signals, and half effort, you stop teaching others how to treat you poorly. Many people confuse patience with self-respect. They think enduring confusion makes them understanding, that tolerating emotional neglect makes them loyal. But loyalty without boundaries turns into self-abandonment. When you continue to give access to someone who doesn't value it, you send a message that your needs are optional. And once someone learns they can ignore your feelings without consequence, they will keep doing it. Self-respect shows up when you no longer beg for clarity, when you stop explaining why effort matters, when you stop justifying why you deserve consistency. You simply remove yourself from situations that don't honor you. And that shift is powerful because it forces a reaction. Some people will rise to meet your standards because they don't want to lose you. Others will fall away because they were never willing to give more. Both outcomes protect you. The truth is, people treat you based on what they believe you will tolerate, not what you say you deserve, but what you consistently accept. The moment you change what you accept, you change the dynamic. Self-respect removes confusion because it removes access. You no longer stay in spaces where you feel uncertain, unappreciated, or emotionally drained. And when access is limited, intention becomes visible. This is where real feelings are exposed. Someone who truly cares will notice the shift. They will ask what changed. They will reflect on their behavior. They will make adjustments without needing ultimatums. But someone who only enjoyed your availability will get defensive, distant, or dismissive. They'll accuse you of changing, being difficult, or asking for too much. That response is not about you. It's about the loss of control they had when you didn't value yourself enough. Self-respect also rewires how you see yourself. You stop measuring your worth by someone else's attention. You stop chasing validation. You become grounded. And that energy alone changes how people show up around you. Confidence doesn't beg, it attracts. It sets standards silently and lets others decide if they can meet them. When you choose self-respect, you're no longer afraid of losing people who benefit from your lack of boundaries. You understand that anyone who truly belongs in your life will respect the version of you that honors yourself. And anyone who doesn't was never meant to stay. Reactions are the clearest form of honesty a person can give. Words can be rehearsed, promises can be made, but reactions are immediate and unfiltered. When you take a step back, when you stop giving constant attention or explaining yourself, the way someone responds tells you everything about what they feel. People reveal their priorities, their interest, and their true emotions in the moments when they are confronted with your absence or your boundary. That is why paying attention to reactions is more powerful than listening to what is said. Most people ignore reactions because they are distracted by the stories they tell themselves. They think, maybe they're busy. Maybe they didn't notice. Maybe it's just a phase. But that is the trap. Reactions are the truth of the heart. If someone misses you, they will show it without being asked. If someone values you, they will act. If someone cares, they will respond. And if they don't, no amount of convincing, explaining, chasing will change it. Reactions don't lie, and they never exaggerate. They simply expose priorities. The problem is that many people fear what reactions might reveal. They worry that stepping back or creating space will push someone away. But the reality is that chasing after someone who doesn't naturally react to your absence only delays the inevitable. The moment you stop over-functioning and stop providing constant reassurance, you force clarity. You allow their genuine feelings to surface. And in that clarity, you no longer live in doubt or anxiety. You finally see the truth in black and white. Reactions also show the level of respect someone has for you. When you remove the convenience of your constant presence, a person who truly respects you will notice immediately. They will step in, they will adjust, they will prioritize. Someone who doesn't respect you will see the change as a relief. They will drift further. Their reaction exposes what they've truly felt all along. This is why stepping back is not a punishment, it is a test, and it is a mirror that reflects reality. Observing reactions requires patience and self-control. You can't immediately judge or assume. You have to watch, wait, and notice patterns. True intentions show themselves over time in consistent responses. One reaction is not always enough, but repeated reactions, or the absence of them, create undeniable evidence. Someone who truly wants you will act. Someone who is indifferent or self-serving will not. And that distinction changes everything about how you move forward. Understanding reactions also teaches you how to set boundaries with confidence. When you see how people respond to your absence or your limits, you can make informed decisions about who deserves your energy. You stop over-investing in people who are inconsistent, indifferent, or unavailable. You stop confusing charm with intention. Reactions cut through all the noise and give you the clarity that words alone could never provide. And once you understand this, you gain power over your relationships and over the way you allow yourself to be treated. Detachment is one of the most powerful tools you can use to see the truth of someone's feelings. When you remove yourself emotionally from someone who is unclear or inconsistent, you create a situation where their true intentions can no longer hide behind your availability. Detachment does not mean you stop caring or being human. It means you stop carrying the weight of someone else's emotions and allow them to show up or not. The way someone reacts to your detachment is the clearest indicator of what they feel and how much they value you. Most people resist detachment because they fear losing the person they care about. They think that stepping back will push them away, but the reality is the opposite. When you are constantly present, constantly available, constantly reassuring, you allow someone to coast. They never have to decide. They never have to put in effort. They never have to reveal what they truly feel. Detachment removes the safety net and forces them to act according to their genuine emotions. When you detach, you give someone a choice. They can either step up and show their feelings, or they can drift away and reveal their indifference. And that's the power of detachment. It exposes what has been hidden. Someone who truly cares will feel the distance and will take action. They will reach out. They will communicate. They will prioritize the connection because they understand the value of what they have. But someone who only tolerated your presence or enjoyed the convenience of your attention will not step forward. They will stay silent or find ways to justify their absence. Detachment does not create distance, it exposes it. Detachment also protects your emotional well-being. When you are emotionally attached to someone who does not reciprocate, you live in constant uncertainty, stress, and anxiety. You analyze every word, every action, and every silence, trying to decode what they feel. Detachment allows you to step back, observe without reacting, and regain control over your peace. You are no longer dependent on their validation or attention. You stop chasing and start watching, and in that observation, you gain clarity. The process of detachment forces self-reflection on the other person. When you stop doing the emotional labor for them, they are confronted with their own feelings. They either realize your importance and act, or they show that they do not value what they have. This is why detachment works where talking sometimes fails. Words can be ignored, promises can be postponed, and explanations can be dismissed. Actions, especially in the context of your absence, cannot be ignored. People reveal who they are when they are challenged by the truth that you will no longer carry the connection alone. Detachment also builds your confidence and strengthens your boundaries. You begin to understand that your worth is not tied to someone else's attention. You stop over-investing in relationships that are one-sided. You learn to prioritize your peace, your energy, and your time. And as you do this, people who are truly aligned with you will rise to meet your standards naturally. Those who are not will drift away, and their departure will not hurt you as much because you have already chosen yourself first. Detachment is not about pushing people away. It is about creating a space where the truth can no longer hide, and in that